Good morning, everyone. This morning we'll be considering this topic: what problem leading to quadratic equation. Then, in solving problem leading to quadratic equation, we'll look at the approach. For you to solve this problem, you learn an algebra or any scientific symbol to represent a given expression. So you either use X, A, C, or any letter. Scientific symbol will refer to either beta or alpha or theta. Then you read the sentence carefully and convert them to mathematical problem, and then you solve. So, having looked at this expression, now we want to take some example of what problem leading to quadratic equation. Now the first example on the board here, we have two numbers have the sum of 23 and the product of 132. You have to find the number. So sum in mathematics means addition, that if we add these two numbers together, we have 23. And that same number, when you multiply it, you obtain 132. Now, how can we get this number? We don't know the number. So he said, let one of the number be A. So we said one of the number should be A. Then since one of the number is A, and the sum of that number, two numbers will give us 23. We therefore say 23 minus A. So that this, if we subtract A from 23, we obtain the other number. And we say the product of the number is what? 32. And already our first number is A. So A is multiplying this one, product means multiplication. So we have A, 23 minus A plus. Equals to 132. So in this case, we expand the bracket. A times 23 will give us 23A. A times minus A will give us minus A squared, equal to 132. Now, if you observe already, you have quadratic equation. So let's simplify, collect the items. This one will be A minus A squared plus 23A minus 132 equals to 0. So since this A is carrying negative sign, we can also multiply each term by minus 1 to avoid any complex in solving it. If you like, you can solve it like this. But in order to bring it to the lower level of student, you make this A squared to be the positive. And if you multiply each term here by minus 1, we are going to have A squared minus 23A plus 132 is equals to 0. So this is a quadratic equation. And basically we have four methods of solving quadratic equation. Either solved by factorization, completing the square, formula, or graphical solution. But in this case, we are going to use factorization method. By factorization method, you find two numbers. When you multiply, you will obtain 132. And the sum of the same number will give you minus 23. So let's look at how we find the number. Try to bring out the factors of 132. Two into 13 will go 6 times. Remainder 1. 2 into 12 will go 6. 2 here will go 3 times 3. 3 here is 1. 1. The next number that will go is 11. And it will go 1. So now, looking at this, you will have 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 12. 11. 11 times 12 will give us 132, which satisfies this. Then, the sum of 12 and 11 will give us 23, but is minus. The 23 we are having here is minus. So, with all indication, the two number is going to be minus 11 and minus 12. So now we have discovered that the number now is 11 and 12. So we are going to fix in the place of this 23. So here we have a squared minus 11a minus 12a plus 132 equals to 0. Now, we have a squared minus 11a minus 12a plus 132 equals to 0. Therefore, we are going to what? Factorize them by grouping. Considering this term, what is common between a squared and 11a? You discover that there is a in this term and there is a here. So we say a is common. So we put a outside the bracket. Implies a is dividing this term. So if one of a cancels this a, we let go to a. Now here is minus 11a. Minus 11a divided by a, you let go to minus 11 plus the bracket. Coming to this one, what is common? Minus 12a plus 132, then is minus 12. Open the bracket. Minus 12a divided by 12, we are going to have our a. And 132 divided by 12 will give us minus 11a equals to 0. And in solving quadratic equation that involve factorization, the two brackets must be same. You discover that this one is 11 minus a, 11 minus a. So we are going to take one of the bracket and the one outside the bracket. So we have, therefore, we have a minus 12. Open another bracket, a minus 11. Equals to 0. So, by implication, we are saying a minus 12 and a minus 11, that is, among these two brackets, one of it must be 0. So, if for this one to be 0, we either say either a minus 12 is equals to 0, or a minus 11 is equals to 0. Therefore, a is equals to 12 or 11. Now we know the value of a, and we said let one of the number be a, and therefore we have 23 minus a. So to obtain the second number, we are going to subtract a from 23. Therefore, 23 minus 12 is equals to 11. Or 23 minus 11 is equals to 12. So therefore, the two numbers are the two numbers here now, the two numbers here are 11 and 12. And when you sum this one to check, if you have 11 plus 12 will give us 23. Then 11 times 12 is going to give us 132. So we say these two numbers satisfies our problem. So if you have the two numbers, you sum and you obtain 23, and the product is 132. So therefore the numbers are 11 and 12. Okay. Question number 2 says Mrs. Ojo is 5 times older than her son. 3 years ago, the product of their age was 185. How old are they now? Now, in solving this problem, we say we don't know the age of the son, so we say let the son age be x. Then Mrs. Ojo's age will be 5 times that of the son. Then 5 times x is equals to 5x. Then the second part of the sentence is the product of their age is 185. And they said what? 3 years ago. 3 years ago meaning 3 years before the present. So now we are going to subtract 3 from the son age and Mrs. Ojo age. Therefore, we are going to have x minus 3, open and close bracket, open another bracket, x minus 3, equals to the product, which is 185. Now here we expand the bracket. X times 5x will give us 5x squared. X times minus 3 is minus 3x. Minus 3 times 5x will give us minus 15x. Minus 3 times minus 3 will give us positive 9, equal to 185. Already, looking at this, we have quadratic equation. So let's simplify this. Minus 3 minus 15x, we have minus 18x plus 9 equals to 185. And every quadratic equation must equate to 0. So we bring a constant across the equality sign. So when 185 is crossing the equality sign, it will become negative. So 185. Now 9 minus 185, we are going to obtain minus 176. So we want to solve this using factorization method. You have to find the product of two numbers to give you 176 and the sum of the same number to give you 18. Now looking at this, when you express this, you discover that there is not any set of number that will satisfy this problem. But the coefficient of x squared is not 1. So that means we are going to use the coefficients of x squared to multiply the constant. This implies our x squared, the coefficient is 5. And the constant here is c, which is the constant is minus 176. So if you multiply this, we are saying therefore 5 times minus 176. And if we multiply, it's going to give us 8 minus 880. So now, this is the number now we are going to find the factor of which will satisfy this problem. And if you do it well, you discover that the factor that will satisfy this is going to be 40 and 22. So we discover that the number that will satisfy this is 40 and 22. So how are you going to put these numbers? 40 and 22. But it means we are going to have minus 18 and minus 880 if we find the product and the sum of this. So in this case, we are going to say our x, one of these numbers, 40 minus 40 and 22 will satisfy this problem. So therefore, we say 5x squared minus 40x plus 22x plus 176 is equals to 0. So now we can factorize this by grouping. Between 5x squared and 40x, what is common? Factor. The number that can divide each of these terms exactly is 5x. Because there is x here, there is x here. So 5 is common. So we put 5x outside the bracket. 5x squared divided by 5x, we left with what? X. Now 40x divided by 5x, we are going to left with minus 8 plus the bracket. Then this term, this one is 22. Then 22 and minus 176 is 22. That is common. Then 22 divided by 22, left with x. Then 100 minus 176 divided by 22 will give us minus 8, equal to 0. So this implies that the factor, now they are the same, which is x minus 8 and x minus 8. So we are going to use the one outside the bracket and one of the one inside the bracket. So therefore we are going to say 5x plus 22, open and close bracket, x minus 8 equals to 0. Now this is a quadratic problem. This implies for you to have 0, it implies that either one of this bracket is 0 or either this one is 0. So we say either 5x plus 22 is equals to 0 or x minus 8 is equals to 0. Okay, so therefore our x is 5x is equal to minus 22 or x is equals to 8. Or in this case we have to make x the subject of the formula. So we are going to divide both sides by 5. This one will cancel and x is equal to 4 whole number 2 all over 5 minus or 8. Then this is the value of x. But what we are trying to find here is the age of the son and that of what? Mrs. Ojo. And age will not be negative. So therefore we are going to use the positive value. Then we say our x, which is 8, we are going to use 8. Now from the sentence now you say the son age now therefore because we said let x be the son age. So therefore, the son age now is going to be 8 years because our x is 8. Now, the Mrs. Ojo, she was what? 5 times older than the son, which is equals to 5x and 5x is equal to 5 times 8. Therefore, it's going to be 40 years. Now the question, see, how old are they now? So, by implication, the son now is 8 years old, while the mother now is what? 40 years old. Okay, we are taking question number 3. It said the area of a rectangular floor is 13.5 centimeters square. One side is longer than the other. Calculate the dimension of the floor. So we agree that this is the area of the what? The rectangular floor. Now, this is a rectangular floor, and we say this one is length, while this one is the breadth. Now, the area. When we say area means the shape. This space covered by this shape is what we define it as area. So the whole of this place now is the area, and is given as 13.5 meter square. Now they say one side of this is longer than the other one. And looking at this, you discover that the opposite sides of the rectangle are equal. So this side is longer than this. So we say let L, which is the length, is equal to 1.5 meter. Now they are saying it's longer than the other side. So this side is longer than this side. So therefore we're going to have x plus 1.5 meter. Now it implies the area is given and one of the sides is given. So we can also use the formula for calculating the area of a rectangular shape and solve this problem. And what is the formula? Our A is equals to length times breadth. So our L now is equal to 1.5 meter. While our A is given as what? 13.5 meter square. So we can say 13, substitute the value here, 13.5 meter square is equal to x plus 1.5 meter times b, which is the other side of which we don't know to be what? X. Then we have 13.5 meters square. Expand the bracket. We are going to have x squared plus 1.5x. Now we observe this is a decimal, we can change them to fraction so that we simplify. Now this one, if you are changing this to fraction, the point here is 1 and you multiply by 10, is going to give you 135 all over 10 is equals to x squared plus 1, which is 15x all over 10. We are simplifying those ones that have fraction. Then one can divide this one exactly. 5 here is 1. Is 2. Sorry, 5 here is 5 into 13 is 2. Remember 3. 5 into 35 is 7. So that implies we have 27 all over 2 is equals to x squared plus 5 here is 2, 5 here is 3. So we have 3x all over 2. I'm looking at this, we have fraction. Now we want to make it to be a linear equation. So we multiply each term by 2 because the LCM is 2. So if we are multiplying each term by 2, you discover that you have 27 over 2 times 2 is equals to x squared times 2 plus 3x all over 2 times 2. These two will cancel these two. This one will cancel on the level 27 is equals to x squared. This and this will give us 2x squared. 2x squared plus what? 3x. Now let's rearrange the equation. Therefore, if we are arranging this equation, we are going to have minus 2x squared minus 3x plus 27 equals to 0. So you can also multiply each term by minus 1. To play this minus sign, we are going to have x squared, 2x squared plus 3x minus 27 equals to 0. So now we have our quadratic equation. So we can solve it. 2x squared plus 3x minus 27 is equals to 0. X 2x squared plus 3x minus 27 equals to 0. We are going to solve by factorization. Now, the coefficient of x squared is 2 and constant here is 27. So if you find the two numbers to satisfy this problem, you discover that it will not give you the middle term. You might have minus 27, but their sum will not give you positive 3. So we'll use this one, a, which is the constant. You can say a times c is equals to 2 times minus 27, which is equals to minus 54. Now, instead of minus 27 here, now we are going to use the minus 54 to find the numbers that will satisfy this problem. And if you have 6 times 9 is equals to 54. But the 54, which is this one, is minus. So this implies that you will have minus 6 plus 9 is 3. So that means minus 6 times 9 satisfies this problem. So therefore, we are going to fix in the value of minus 6 and positive 9. 2x squared minus 6x plus 9x minus 27 is equals to 0. Now, we factorize by grouping what is common between these two terms and these terms. Here we have 2x squared and here is 6x. So 2x is common. We put 2x outside the bracket. Implies 2x is dividing each of these terms. 2 terms here. So 2x squared divided by 2x, we are going to have x. 6x divided by 2x will give us minus 3. Coming with this one, what is common is 9, and the 9 is positive. Because the coefficient of 9 here is positive. So we have 9. 9x divided by 9 we have x. Minus 27 divided by 9 we have minus 3 equals to 0. So since the two brackets are same, now we can write the one outside the bracket and one of it. So therefore we have 2x plus 9 open bracket x minus 3 is equals to 0. So for this to be 0, either 2x plus 9 equals to 0, or x minus 3 is equals to 0. Then, to make x the subject of the formula here, we have 2x is equals to minus 9. We take 9 across the equality sign, and it will become negative. Divide one side by 2. 2 here. Our x here is going to be minus 4.5, or taking this one across the equality sign is going to be positive 3. So the value of x is minus 4.5 or 3. But instead we have to find what? The other side of the what? The dimension. So we are going to use positive 3 because the dimension is always positive. So we use the value of this one to find, or either you substitute any of this in the problem we solve so far. So going back to the first thing we said, one of the sides is what? X plus 1.5. So now the length now is x plus 1.5 meter. Now we know the value of x. Our x is minus 4.5 plus 1.5 meters is equal to, if we simplify this, we are still going to have minus 3m. Then for x equals to 3, is equals to x plus equals to 3 plus 1.5 meters equals to 4.5 meters. So in this case, we're saying that the other side of the other side of the rectangular flow now is 4.5 meters. Therefore, equals to what? 4.5 meters. Okay. Having solved these 3 of the examples, you can solve number 4 and 5 as an assignment. Number 4 says, think of a number, square it, add 2 times the original number, the result is 80. Find the number. Number 5, a right angle triangle has sides, open bracket x plus 10, close bracket centimeter, comma, open bracket x plus 2, close bracket centimeter, and open bracket x plus 4, close bracket centimeter. Find the value of each side of the triangle. So in this case, you are going to apply Pythagoras theorem because it is a right angle. That is the hint to this problem. Then, if you finish, you submit the assignment to this email about ghsgindri@gmail.com.